Okay, Kurzgesagt. What's up, guys? George the Cloud here. My name's Jorge, aka George. Welcome to the channel and welcome to my life. We are back to this page, which always delivers incredible work. I'm a big fan of what they do, and they just released a video called The Dumbest Animal Alive. And based on the thumbnail here, I'm pretty sure that's what do they call that? A sunfish? I think it's a sunfish, right? I'm pretty sure that's the one. But we're going to find out via the magic of video. So is there any information here that I should read? Actually, there is. We got some spoilers here. The ocean sunfish, nailed it. It is the sunfish, or mola. It's one of the strangest animals alive. A massive, flat, jerpy giant that eats jellyfish, drifts aimlessly, and carries parasites that even have smaller parasites of their own. Even their parasites have parasites that have more parasites. Somehow, this awkward creature that feels like evolution's inside joke doesn't survive in the world's oceans. It thrives. But how? When? Why? Okay, well, let's find out here. I'm excited. Guys, if you made it this far, hopefully you do subscribe and check out my Patreon. I'm just asking. Grab some popcorn, fill up your water, put your headphones on. Let's begin.
The sunfish, or mola, is the dumbest creature alive. Not just from an intelligence perspective. I mean, look at it. It's a being of extremes and comically bad at being an animal. Its evolutionary strategy is to be chunky boys, weaker than their predators, staring into the ocean with empty, dumb eyes, eating the least nutritious food possible, but growing amazingly fast, getting infested by parasites, and dying horribly. If you present...
Man, the narrator here really hates the sunfish. Okay.
Getting infested by parasites and dying horribly. If you presented the sunfish in animal invention class, everybody would be really upset with you. And yet somehow the mola doesn't just survive but thrives. How? Like, actually, how?
How does he do it?
Are you okay, evolution?
Are you okay?
The genus of mola is a fish built wrong. A giant head that evolution lost interest in halfway through. Its body is very flat and circular without a real tail. Instead, it has a sort of rudder-like stump. Two fins on the top and bottom give it an, unorthodox swimming style. They propel themselves forwards by flapping their fins in a goofy wobbling motion with a...
It's like a lopsided turtle.
They propel themselves forwards by flapping their fins in a goofy wobbling motion with as little grace as possible. It's less like swimming and more like underwater flying, although when they really try, mola can match strong swimmers like salmon or marlins. Some fish also don't have a swim bladder, the gas-filled organ most fish use for buoyancy. Instead, they have a jelly-like layer of flesh that's 90% water to dive or surface, which definitely doesn't help with agility. Most of the time, mola cruises around leisurely. Their teeth are fused into a parrot-like beak that sits in a tiny gaping pout that's open most of the time. Together with two huge empty eyes, the sunfish has a perpetual derpy face, always looking stunned. Some fish don't have proper scales, but some of the thickest skin in the ocean after whales, up to 15 centimeters thick. It's rough and rubbery and often covered in mucus, like armor made from car tires. Although most of what it's protecting is not that great in the first place. Sunfish can become as big and massive as a large car, but its organs are collected together in the front.
Well, why was SpongeBob and Mrs. Puff making a feature here? Oh, Mrs. Puff is not she's a pufferfish.
What it's protecting is not that great in the first place. Sunfish can become as big and massive as a large car, but its organs are collected together in the front of their body, while most of their bulk is oddly textured, flabby, gelatinous tissue, an animal made from all the worst parts of a steak. This very mid-meat is supported by a sort of weird skeleton without ribs or a tailbone and a lot of cartilage. Their weird bodies are a mobile mini-ecosystem, infested and saturated with around 50 species of parasites, probably more than any other fish. crustaceans, barnacles, various worms and protozoans live on and in their skin, muscles, gills or organs. They're such a paradise for parasites that even their parasites have their own smaller parasites. Some mola are also followed by an entourage of other fish that seek protection, food scraps, or feed on their inhabitants. This awkward situation may be the root of their most bizarre behavior. Mola frequently swim to the surface to float on their side like a pancake. They're sunbathing to warm up again from deep cold dives, which is where they got their name from. But they also do it to
I think that's the first time I've heard a fish get cold.
from deep cold dives, which is where they got their name from. But they also do it to present their body to seabirds like albatrosses. The birds start picking the parasites from the sunfish body, while smaller fish that live near the surface take care of the bottom half, cleaning them in exchange for a snack. While this is a great adaptation to their parasite infection, it sadly often leads to dead sunfish when they collide with boats. Since they're still cold and slow from the deep when they float on the surface, they can't react to anything coming at them. Once mola reach a certain size, most predatory fish seem to avoid them, probably wrongfully assuming their size means that they could fight back, and because their outsides are too tough. But orcas, sharks and sea lions sometimes attack and take a bite, usually only to say, "No thank you, I prefer starving to death." Because for big predators, some fish are watery, not very nutritious, cartilage-filled, parasite-ridden jelly donuts. They simply prefer to eat almost anything else, leaving molars swimming around with big chunks missing, looking even more ridiculous. Sea lions have been observed to skip the whole sunfish and only eat its organs, play with its body like a frisbee, and then leave the rest for scavengers. The sunfish might be sad about all of this, but we'll never know because
I'm really glad I'm watching this as an animation and not real footage.
For scavengers. The sunfish might be sad about all of this, but we'll never know because our chunky boys are incredibly stupid. Lovable, chunky, derpy idiots.
They hate
Sunfish have one of the lowest brain-to-body ratios in the animal kingdom. A car-sized molar has a walnut-sized brain and only a tiny spine, so its mind runs an early alpha version of intelligence with updates disabled. If you look a sunfish deep in the eyes, you'll mostly see your reflection. Despite, or maybe because of their daftness, they're pretty gentle fish that show no aggression towards other larger animals and are friendly to humans. Sometimes they even approach divers or boats to check out what they are and to stare at them derpily. Even if some fish could get angry, they kind of lack the tools or temperament to hurt a human. Adult sunfish are loners that spend most of their lives drifting and wobbling through the ocean solo, although sometimes they come together to make babies. Spotting two sunfish making love is extremely difficult because they rendezvous in the deep ocean. But we know that their strategy is for 99.999% of their offspring to die. Female molar carry far more eggs than any other vertebrate on Earth, hundreds of millions of eggs in a single mating party. Sunfish eggs are tiny and float in the plankton where millions are eaten, starve, or don't even hatch. The larvae that do hatch are adorable rice grain-sized weirdos covered in little star-shaped spines with the derpy facial expression of adult sunfish. All kinds of predators gobble up these tiny molar by the millions, so to have any chance they need to become large quickly. Luckily, sunfish have the most rapid and extreme growth of any animal. A larva can increase its weight
Of any animal.
Sunfish have the most rapid and extreme growth of any animal. A larva can increase its weight 60 million times from hatching to adult. This is the equivalent of a human baby growing to the weight of an aircraft carrier. If you grow fast, you need a lot of nutritious food, and this is why molar have chosen to specialize on the dumbest meal available. The dumbest predator versus the dumbest prey. The sunfish found a truly remarkable ecological niche. If your prey is so pathetic that some other predators don't want to bother with it, you have it all for yourself. Molar are generalized predators with a focus on small and soft stuff. Their huge eyes can see incredibly well, especially in dim water, and they can sneak up on small prey or sift through drifting zooplankton. Mostly fish larvae, squids, shrimps, mollusks, starfish, small crustaceans, really any soft critter they can get to. but maybe their favorite meals are from the jelly kind of sea life, like jellyfish, ctenophores, and salps, which really is something since these are almost entirely water and have almost no calories. So to get any meaningful amount of nutrition, sunfish can mow through swarms of jellyfish, sometimes devouring thousands in a single day.
Wow.
Without a swim bladder, mola can dive very deep and surface quickly and freely, giving them a huge range, able to travel dozens of kilometers a day to graze on the seafloor or reefs, hunt for jelly in the deep, or consume plankton and algae near the surface. Mola are the cows of the ocean, huge and constantly floating around, slurping in high volumes of low-nutrient food. Since they don't really chew with their beak, sunfish have found another absurd way to eat: long, claw-like teeth in their throat. Mola suck in their prey, pull it through their throat teeth that prevent it from escaping, and maybe move it around and rip it apart like a slow-motion wood chipper. Okay, as much as we're roasting the sunfish, and don't worry, it doesn't understand.
This is what I'm saying. They keep roasting this sunfish. No pun intended.
Okay, as much as we're roasting the sunfish, and don't worry, it doesn't understand that we're making fun of it, actually it's kind of genius. Nature has a sense of humor and has left niches in the ecosystem that are best filled by being passive and bad at everything. Mola are derpy goofballs that are bullied by everyone. And while it is fun to call them dumb, actually they're a highly specialized and resilient species widely spread throughout the oceans of the world. A marvel of evolution. A truly genius creature. And as the human gazes into the sunfish's eyes and wonders how evolution could produce such an ingenious creature, Sunny suddenly wonders about her own origins. There's a deeper version of her story that nobody told her.
Okay, we have the ad. I'm just gonna skip the ad. I'm sure you guys have seen it. But first things first, we hit the like. I am subscribed, and I'll have a link of the original video down in the description below. Sure, they may be dumb, but they deserve to be loved and a place on Earth, right? They are a species just like any of us, and with that, I think comes respect. So we must respect the sunfish and just let it do its thing. I was not expecting the comparison to a cow on Earth, but I can definitely see it. I was thinking more like a pug, right? It's the dog version of a pug, except, you know, there would be like giant pugs, but just genetically not gifted, kind of floating around. And I thought that they were going to be like a very good like meal for, like a very good prey for like sharks and orcas and stuff like that. But I guess they are so insufficient in nutrition and not tasty that they don't even want them. They take a huge bite, and I have seen footage and photos of them with the huge bite, and it's like that. I feel bad for them. Like that's got to be devastating. And this part where boats would run them over, I can't imagine that happens too often, but when it does, you know, it's bad for them, I guess. It could be a life ending. Yeah, it's just weird how science works and how, you know, different species develop. But I guess since there's so many, right? Thousands, millions maybe of animals in the world, that we get everything. Every single, like all over, different niches, I guess that's how they describe them. I've seen some footage of them like next to a person for size comparison, and they look huge. They can get to like car size or bigger, but since they're like a pancake, completely round almost, they look way bigger, right, than other fish due to the shape. And I would think that being right next to one has got to be terrifying. But then you realize that they're no threat at all, that you're the threat to them, essentially. They're just sort of big, you know, balloons floating around with their derpy eyes. But just, you know, I have to imagine if I was in proximity to one in the middle of the ocean, just absolutely depths all around, completely blue. That's one of my biggest fears, actually. I think it's could be a phobia, I don't know, just open water. Maybe the worst thought imaginable to me is like the worst situation. A plane crashes and I have to survive in the middle of the ocean until I get to an island, and hopefully there's no cannibals in that island. But yeah, it would still be scary to be up front next to a fish this big regardless. Okay, so I guess I learned something. I still don't think it's the dumbest animal. I would say it's the most, like, maybe vulnerable or innocent. I'm gonna look at it that way. I kind of, I'm getting a soft spot in my heart for this fish. I feel bad for them. But either way, thank you guys for watching. If you have more suggestions, feel free to comment, hit the like, subscribe, and at the end, do a flip. Till the next.